Hi guys, David Williams here again. Just going to give you another quick update on our Cubiquity Voxel terrain system. This time focusing on editing features, so sculpting and painting. I'm starting with this partially constructed terrain. And as you can see on the right hand side, we now have this inspector, which lets us choose from an operation we want to perform on our terrain, similar to the standard Unity terrain editor. Sculpting, smoothing, painting, and well, settings is currently empty. For each of these tools, we can choose a brush, and you can see on the terrain this blue marker, which changes soft fall off or hard fall off depending on the way we want to paint, and you can change its radius too. Let's start with demonstrating painting. So I've got this large flat area to test on, and we'll just pick a kind of earthy material to start with. And you just click and drag to paint. Like that. If I do it with the sand material, which is a more distinct colour, then you'll see it can also have these unpleasant looking hard edges, which is a common problem in voxel terrain engines. But because we support both hard and soft brushes, we're able to smooth that off quite easily and make a nice transition around our sandy patch. This is fairly unique in voxel engines, to have this degree of control over the blending. We have a smooth tool here, which can also just smooth an existing boundary. So you can just, perhaps a bit more opacity, you can just click and drag to get rid of those jagged edges. And that's the idea. You can blend between multiple materials and get a nice smooth result. In terms of sculpting, well, we have the same brushes to choose from, and again they have different effects. If we start with a hard brush, then well, you'll see the kind of structure which this generates. You can create a kind of vertical structure like this. On the other hand, if we use a much softer brush, then you get a much more rounded structure being created. In both cases, they take on the material of whatever surface you're sculpting from, but of course you can then paint it. So we can put some grass on top of this pillar, choose a smaller radius, pick the grass texture, and well, you can just draw straight on the top like that. And if you wish, you can also just paint on the side. Cubiquity does not require you to specify separate top or side textures. That's a common approach in voxel engines, but what we do here is a bit more flexible, so you can paint any material onto any surface arbitrarily. Sculpting also lets you dig away at the terrain. If you pick the sculpt tool and select a brush, probably something like this, and if you hold down shift when you click and drag, then it digs away the terrain. And you can see that it's showing us the existing rock beneath the terrain. If we move outside the terrain over here, we can see that it is indeed a layer of rock with a thin layer of grass on top, and this is reflected in the when we dig away, we get the same appearance. Slightly jagged edges around here. Again, the smooth tool can apply to geometry as well as materials, so we can smooth this nasty sharp corner off, for example. Just like that, nice and easy. And then you have it, a small little lake in our island. Just as another demonstration, we can dig a cave into this cliff face. So sculpt again, choose a brush, maybe slightly smaller, hold down Shift, and we can, yeah, create a cliff. Sorry, create a cave. Again, perhaps smooth the edge. And perhaps we want the inside of our cave to be a different material to the outside. So we can choose a different rock material here, and we can paint it straight on. And you can see the inside of the cave now has a different material to the outside. You can also edit some properties of these, by the way. For example, you can, well, change the scale as you wish in each of the 3 dimensions independently. Probably it looks nice set quite small for our purposes here. And then maybe we add like a sandy path coming out of the cave and across the river. We can do this quite easily. And yeah, perhaps around our lake as well. Again, any textures can be painted onto any surface. We can, of course, switch into game mode. And get a view from ground level. Yeah, and well, that's it in a nutshell. That's the editing features which are currently implemented, sculpting and painting of materials. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.